honor their fallen comrade. Acting Secretary of Homeland Security Rand Beers presented a flag to Hernandez's wife.
What truly made Officer Hernandez a hero was how he lived with kindness, with consideration, and with love for all who were fortunate to know him. Every single day, he took pride in the role that he played to keep the American people safe.
He continuously set a standard of excellence. He showed respect and cared for everyone.
The United States Honor Flag, which once flew over Ground Zero in New York, was flown to LAX in honor of Hernandez. I'm Cindy San Luis for LA This Week.
Hernandez is survived by his wife and 2 children. He had started working as a TSA agent at LAX in 2010. And in the wake of the shooting at LAX, city leaders are in the hot seat as they contemplate how to improve airport security. Gil Reyes has more from a discussion held at Loyola Marymount University.
The discussion, intended to be a review of Mayor Garcetti's first 100 days in office, quickly turned to evacuation protocol at LAX and how to improve it. The issue prompted by a deadly shooting at the airport in November, which resulted in many evacuees not knowing where to go. LA City Councilman Mike Bonin wants a uniform plan familiar to all airport employees.
Maybe if you're evacuating Terminal 1 and Terminal 2, standard protocol, every employee, concessionaire or airline employee or airport employee, tells you to go to Lot 3, and then we'll take a Metro bus that will take you to a Red Cross station.
Bonin speaking with other city leaders at Loyola Marymount University. Topics ranged from the possibility of adding more airport security cameras to hiring more cops.
There's a backlog right now in getting LAPD and LAWA officers through the background check process that exists in our personnel department. These are agencies ready with budgets to hire. We're down LAPD, I think, 99, 20 something right now. We just graduated another class, so we may be back up, but we're supposed to have 10,000 in strength. I don't want to just hit 10,000 every July 1st. I want us to have 10,000 at any given moment.
City Controller Ron Galperin mentioned tapping into the federal government and grants for more security dollars, while LA City Attorney Mike Feuer focused on gun control to prevent violence.
We're already working with the police department to assure that a perpetrator of domestic violence doesn't have a gun in his home. We're working to assure that people who are prohibited from having weapons don't have them, and when we find that they do, we're going to prosecute them.
The mayor, city controller, city attorney, and councilman all agree that a friendly working relationship between them will lead to improvements in the safety of citizens. In Playa Vista, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Despite the recommendations, city leaders did praise the quick work of airport police during the shooting. And this month, as we do every year, Americans took time out to honor and remember those who served and continue to serve in the military. Yana Kay takes us to 2 Veterans Day events where heartbreaking stories of sacrifice took center stage.
O'er the ramparts we watched.
The national anthem echoes across Forest Lawn as part of several Veterans Day ceremonies across the city. And as everyone gathered, the crowd fell silent as one retired staff sergeant shared how a roadside bomb in Iraq changed his life forever.
It sent shockwaves through my entire body. Imagine if you were there. The dust so thick in the air you could cut it with a knife. Your ears would be ringing, and a metallic taste in your mouth.
Sergeant Pauly's right arm was shattered and one of his youngest soldiers killed in the blast. His story was one that resonated with these veterans as they came together to honor their own. As part of the ceremony, a memorial wreath was laid out and military aircraft flew in formation above. LA City Council member Tom LaBonge also paid tribute.
But today we gather as friends, as Americans, to salute veterans who've made a difference through our whole life.
Across town in San Pedro at the 2nd Annual Veterans Appreciation Festival, military members past and present were honored the Saturday before Veterans Day aboard the battleship USS Iowa.
This is great. It's just a wonderful day in a
This is a nice place for it.
Hundreds came out for the festivities, including Mayor Eric Garcetti and Councilmember Joe Buscaino.
How fitting it is that we do this in the backdrop of the battleship USS Iowa here in San Pedro.
Folks got to tour the massive battleship as they paid tribute to the country's veterans.
This symbol of America's strength also hopefully is a symbol of our desire for peace.
I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
And on this Veterans Day, a facility built in 1925 to serve veterans hosted a celebration as renovations to the building near completion. After being shuttered for 7 years to undergo a $45 million renovation, a rededication ceremony was held for the Bob Hope Patriotic Hall. The project was approved by the County of Los Angeles Board of Supervisors back in 2009. The building itself was built in 1925 to serve as a meeting place and resource for veterans. With its reopening, it will do so again.
Now we have not only our Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, but our Department of Mental Health that is here to provide intervention for those veterans that have post-traumatic stress disorder or traumatic brain injury or any kind of mental health conditions. But aside from that, we also have legal services now, and as well as employment and training for jobs.
The rededication of the Bob Hope Patriotic Hall was also an opportunity for our county and city leaders to pay tribute to our region's veterans.
I'm 103.
103.
Now I don't mind telling.
And were you?
I used to hide it.
What did you do during the service? You were in World War II?
We worked with mimeograph machines. That's what we have.
LA City Mayor Eric Garcetti, who serves part-time as a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy Reserves, was invited to speak at the event honoring veterans.
The 15% of all job training dollars must go towards veterans to find them jobs and to help transition them into the civilian lives that they deserve.
The county has begun to meet with veterans service organizations to discuss their needs and how the new facility can serve as a full-service center for U.S. military veterans and their families. The Bob Hope Patriotic Hall is located at 1826 South Figueroa. Improvements to the building include restoration of a 474-seat auditorium, American with Disabilities Act upgrades, as well as work to make the building LEED certified. And as we mentioned near the top of the show, the mayor has survived his first 100 days in office, and he's been making the rounds to share his vision with community members. At a recent luncheon, the mayor put aside a prepared speech in favor of some straight talk aimed at pushing our city to its highest potential.
For too long, city government has failed in its mission. I'll be blunt with you today.
Mayor Eric Garcetti did not mince words as he addressed the business community at the recent VICA, or Valley Industry and Commerce Association luncheon held in Studio City at the Sportsman's Lodge. The mayor made it clear to this audience of Valley business owners and entrepreneurs that the change in leadership at various city departments is not about a change in personnel. It's about changing the whole culture of City Hall.
We don't have a customer service ethic enough of the time. We certainly don't innovate, whether it's the use of technology or experimentation. We haven't created a culture that rewards that. In fact, the best way to get promoted in most of our city departments is to cover your behind and just keep your head down and wait till you get another step up.
Councilmember Mitchell Englander, who represents a portion of the San Fernando Valley, seems to share one mind about ending government red tape.
We've got a draconian, archaic process of getting through the planning department and the building and safety department. We need those two departments to work together much better.
The mayor's straight talk at the luncheon won him a standing ovation, as well as pledges of support from those who want to see the region and the city thrive.
We supply much of the workforce for employers here, so it's exciting to come and listen to the mayor's plans. He's already reached out to institutions of higher education in Los Angeles.
And the mayor's not done reaching out to anyone who wants to be part of LA's future.
If you know a company that wants to come here, send them our way. I want to talk to their CEO. If you know a company that wants to grow, send them our way. We're going to figure out a way to make that happen.
And along with his big speech came a big prediction from the mayor that this valley will be the heart of the rebound of Los Angeles, one main street, one neighborhood, one region at a time. The mayor says making LA great will require sacrifices from residents, such as paying more taxes to help pave our streets or to expand public transit. The annual Quality and Productivity Awards highlight the best of the best when it comes to what the city is doing for Angelenos. The recipe for winning these awards? A yen for innovation and a sharp eye for the bottom line. Anna Marcos explains.
If the city of LA had an Oscar award, this would be it. The annual Quality and Productivity Awards put city departments and the best and brightest of their projects in the spotlight.
A lot of times we hear about what's wrong in the city in the media, but this is an opportunity to let people know what's really going well and how we're really maximizing taxpayer dollars, reducing waste, and really doing more with less.
Anything that innovates on new ideas and saves the city money is a top contender. This year, 21 projects won awards. The Information and Technology Agency, which runs our own Channel 35, took 3 of the honors. Among its winning projects, the relaunch of the ITA and Channel 35 website, there was also a joint award with the City Controller's Office for the overhaul of the city's financial system. And then there's a new app you can play with, MyLA 311.
So you see graffiti, you can take a picture of it, you can report it. You see a pothole, you can take a picture and report it. And all of those go into our 311 call center, so you don't have to call it in over the phone. It's really a growing trend. We have a new generation of citizens in this city that are just becoming expert in mobile apps, and they expect that that's the way they're going to be doing business.
The LAPD clinched 2 awards, one for the program Mission Possible, which brings new awareness about autism to law enforcement officers, and another award for eliminating the department's DNA backlog. And Bureau of Sanitation got a nod for cleaning up the city's underground pipes.
For example, one of the projects brought in or saw a drill being used in the private sector. They modified it and tried it out to clear drains in the city. And so they were able to do that for about $1,000, when in reality, doing it the old way where they dug things up cost about $9,000 to $10,000.
The departments of Aging, Personnel, and Public Works, as well as the zoo and library, all got their moment in the spotlight. They may put LA front and center the rest of the year, but this was their moment to shine. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The city received close to 50 submissions for the Quality and Productivity Awards. Some of LA's most well-known corridors will shine again as part of the mayor's Great Streets initiative. Detectives ask for help to solve a 3-month-old unsolved murder of a teenager and a book with your Happy Meal. These stories and more in City Beat. Abbot Kinney in Venice is one example of what Mayor Eric Garcetti would like to see more of in our city, as he recently issued his first executive directive launching the Great Streets initiative. The goal, to turn the focus back on street instead of car culture here in LA.
Abbot Kinney Boulevard in Venice, Ventura Boulevard in Studio City, 6th Street in San Pedro, 1st Street in Royal Heights, South Robertson Boulevard. There you find communities that are anchored by emergent or emerging great streets.
The mayor made the announcement at the transit-oriented Los Angeles conference presented by the Urban Land Institute. A working group comprised of several city departments will be tasked with identifying potential streets to be included in the program, which will involve repair work and beautification. And to honor veterans this Veterans Day, the LA City Council, led by Councilman Joe Buscaino, presented Lieutenant John Russo of the LA Police Department with a special proclamation as he re-enlists in the United States Coast Guard Reserves. Russo first enlisted back in 1985 and subsequently served on Operation Desert Storm before joining the LAPD, where he has served for over 20 years. LAPD criminal gang homicide detectives have announced a $50,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of whoever shot and killed Bijan Shustari. The 17-year-old was driving 2 friends around in this Buick Electra in the area of Crenshaw Boulevard and Vernon Avenue on Saturday, August 3rd around midnight, when police say someone from inside a gray or silver vehicle began shooting at him and his passengers.
We also have a sketch of an individual that was developed with the aid of some witnesses that were present, of an individual we know that was present during this incident, and we're hoping somebody sees this sketch and recognizes that individual and calls us and lets us know who that person is.
If you have information, you're asked to call criminal gang homicide detective Paul Funicello at 213-485-4341. Councilman Curran Price recognized in council chambers McDonald's National Literacy Month. Instead of giving out toys with its Happy Meals, the fast food giant gave out 20 million books instead during the first half of the month of November.
Also starting November the 1st, McDonald's will give families anytime access to reading with a new interactive digital book each month through the end of 2014.
The free interactive ebooks will be available on McPlay, McDonald's Happy Meal app. There's reading, writing, and now playing. As Yana Kay tells us, school just got a lot more fun for some students in North Hollywood.
These North Hollywood elementary school students can't control their excitement knowing that they have a new park to play in right in their school's own backyard.
Do you guys like this park?
As part of the city's 50 Parks initiative, city officials, community members, and students came together for the ribbon-cutting ceremony to officially open the North Hollywood Intergenerational Multipurpose Center and Park at Tiara Street, right next to Maurice Sandak Elementary and New Horizons Academy.
It's awesome. I love it because it's so close to our house and our school, so whenever after school we can do our homework, then come and play.
Having this park right next to your school is just going to be such a tremendous benefit for all of you.
Residents say this park has been a long time coming and share the kids' excitement.
We're so happy to just walk from our school over here at our local park because I'm not driving at this moment.
The new park features a kids' play area with a rubber surface, shade canopy, new decomposed granite walking paths, concrete benches, picnic tables, and more.
This park is great. It's fantastic. Everything's new, and I like that.
The new park is more than 1.5 acres and not only features great play areas for kids, but it also has activities for adults, such as this brand new state-of-the-art fitness equipment. This is the 19th of more than 50 parks the city is committed to building.
We are embarking on a plan to add parks in every neighborhood in the city where there were no parks, and this is one of them.
I think it's a really nice place because you could just come with your family, have fun, lay down on the grass.
A simple idea that officials hope will benefit an entire community. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
In addition to the park space, the project includes a new multi-purpose facility that is open to the community. In this week's list of things to do, walking in LA, hiking in LA, and helping the LA Regional Food Bank. Who says nobody walks in LA? For the 8th year, the Great Los Angeles Walk continues to go strong. Meet on Saturday, November 23rd at Echo Park Lake, located at 751 Echo Park Avenue. The 18-mile walk will be stepping off at 9 a.m. sharp and take participants across Sunset Boulevard, including the famed Sunset Strip, before heading down Wilshire to complete the journey to the ocean. The Great Los Angeles Walk will conclude with an after-party in Santa Monica at a location to be announced later. Go to greatlawalk.com. KFWB radio personality Leo Quinones, who hosts the Film Freak movie interview, is planning his 16th annual Film Freak Thanksgiving food drive for the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank, which has raised 250,000 pounds of food to date. This year, the event will once again take place in the parking lot of the Smart End Final at 11221 West Pico Boulevard in West LA, starting Friday, November 22nd to Sunday, November 24th. Donations can be dropped off from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Friday and Saturday, and 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sunday. This year, Quinones has set an all-time best goal of 50,000 pounds of food. And we're giving you an early heads up to set aside the morning of Thanksgiving for a big hike. Ranger Ernie Ibarra will be leading a 10-mile advanced Thanksgiving hike to the Hollywood sign to help you burn a few extra calories before you sit down for your turkey feast. This hike on Thursday, November 28th will start 1 hour earlier than usual at 7 a.m. and will end at around 1 p.m. Meet at the Griffith Park Ranger Station Visitor Center located at 4730 Crystal Springs Drive. You can find information on this and other Ranger Ernie hikes at facebook.com/Ranger Ernie. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. The city recently kicked off its month-long celebration of Native American heritage. And as Yana Kay tells us, this time around, our region's Native American community turned the spotlight on a sitting council member.
As Native American tribal music filled City Hall, a procession marked the beginning of American Indian Heritage Month in Los Angeles.
As an American Indian of the Wyandot Nation, this event is very special to me. My colleagues, I think it is important to celebrate the different traditions and cultures of our great city.
Last June, Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell was sworn into the Wyandot Nation by the tribe's chief, Billy Friend, who was on hand for the ceremony.
On behalf of our nation, we are very proud of him. He comes from a long lineage of leaders in the Wyandot Nation.
The city also recognized the historical significance many of the Native American tribes had on Los Angeles, dating back to the 1700s.
I'm a direct lineal descendant of the ancestry that built the San Gabriel Mission in 1771. And 10 years later, in 1781, we founded what is today Yagna, which is Los Angeles.
Several Native American organizations were presented certificates from Council for all the work they do on behalf of Native Americans.
We must never forget who we are and where we came from, and as you all know, it's always an ongoing education for all of us as Indian people.
And the hope is these kinds of celebrations will keep history alive for future generations. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
As we all know, the city is celebrating the 100th anniversary of the LA Aqueduct this month, and to commemorate the centennial, a group of mules set off on foot to mark the occasion. They're called the 100 Mules Walking the Los Angeles Aqueduct, and they made the trek from Lone Pine in eastern Sierra to Los Angeles starting on October 18th, arriving in Sylmar early this month in time for the LA Department of Water and Power's reenactment of the aqueduct's grand opening in 1913. During the aqueduct's construction, mules were used to transport freight and supplies to the work sites. These modern-day mules arrived at their final destination on Veterans Day at the Equestrian Center in Griffith Park, greeted by spectators.
And it was a great idea because we'll never see this again.
These mules walked a total of 240 miles during the 3-week journey. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Bulky item pickup? Call 311, the toll-free number for non-emergency services. 311, your one call to City Hall.
Hi, I'm 8 years old, and in the next 15 seconds, I'm gonna get hit by a car. Always look both ways before you cross. Drive with caution around kids. Traffic safety is everybody's responsibility. Watch the road.
G'day, Troy McCubbin from North Hollywood. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35, our city, our channel.
Today is Wednesday, November 20th. And we have a quorum, I believe, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for your patience. I know some members had some things going on this morning as well that were critically important, so I appreciate everybody coming here as quickly as possible. Mr. Clerk, if you can please call the roll.
Blumenfield, Bonner, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Huizar, Corretz, Gregorian, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Weston, 10 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
All right, Mr. Clerk, the first order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
All right, Councilmember Bonin moves, Councilmember Cedillo seconds. The next item, please.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Councilmember Fuentes moves and Councilmember Corretz seconds.
Mr. President, there is a request from the Office of Finance to receive and file item 1 inasmuch as the taxpayer has resolved the liability, and there is a request from the city attorney to continue item 42 to November 26.
Okay, without objection, that'll be the order.
Very good, sir. Items 2 through 14 are items noticed for public hearing.
Okay, 2 through 14 for public hearing. And do we have cards on those items?
Yes, sir. We have cards on items 3 and 9.
3 and 9. Any members on any of those items? The following items, no members. Okay, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Great, thank you. Next items.
Mr. President, items 15 through 26 are items for which public hearings have been held. For item 25, a corrected Arts, Parks, Health, Aging, and River Committee report has been submitted and circulated, and committee reports for items 15 through 19 and 26 have been submitted and circulated and are before council.
Okay, and I believe 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 are commission appointments. So we've got commissions up. So it would be either Mr. Price, Mr. Parks, or Ms. Martinez for any of those commissioners. Do you wish to hold any of those items? Yes.
17, 18, and 19.
17, 18, and 19 for Ms. Martinez. Mr. Price, you'd like to hold yours as well? Okay, that'll be number 15 for Mr. Price. And Mr. Parks on item 16. Okay, we'll go ahead and put that one on consent. Seeing no other members on the queue on any of those.
Mr. President, Mr. Chair, number 25 special, please.
25 special for Mr. Huizar. Mr. Labange, did you have any you wanted to call special? You're just stretching.
No, I'm just asking one quick question here.
Okay.
On all the commissioners, they're special?
Yes, with the exception of one, that the chair asked that it be go on consent.
Well, I like 15. And I like 16. They'll be real quick.
So we're going to go ahead and we'll have those
commissioners. Because they work real hard, and some of these commissioners, we don't give them a chance at the board if they would. Those who are, Mr. Clerk?
Yeah, so Mr. Labange, those are going to be called special. We're going to bring them up per the chair of those committees.
Thank you.
You got it, absolutely. So 16 is the only one that's not correct. The other ones will be brought up. So with that, we'll go ahead and open the roll on those remaining items, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Great, thank you very much.
Mr. President, items 27 through 41 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
And do we have cards on those?
Mr. President, yes, we do. We have cards on items 32, 38, 40, and 41.
Okay, and any members, do you have any ones that you'd like to call special on the remaining items? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and open the roll on those items, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Great.
And Mr. President, the ordinances will go over for 1 week unless reconsidered later.
Great, excellent. Thank you very much. Those will require 12 votes. We'll hold those unless we get 2 additional members. I do not believe we will have 2 additional members here today. We may have 1, but we'll go ahead and hold those over for the week then. And then with that, I believe we have a presentation. Mr. Labange, did you have a presentation? And are you ready?
Ask Mr. President if our city attorney would call the city attorney and see what his ETA is. He wanted to make a joint with this. If you would, Mr. Junior City Attorney, City Council. He's a great guy. That's why I could call him that.
All righty. With that special request that's being handled, we'll go ahead and take the next item. Yeah, we'll hold the closed session until Mr. Krikorian arrives.
Very good, sir. That brings us to item number 3, called Special for Cards.
Right. Mr. Herman, John Walsh, followed by Sean. Come on up. Whoever makes it to the mic first, feel free.
Good morning, residents of Los Angeles and all of you constituents here today. I'm here to speak about a guide to rights and disabilities under item number 3, continued consideration of the hearing, protest, and ordinance. First consideration relative to the improvements of maintenance on Van Nuys Boulevard and Telfair Avenue. So, lighting district. Let's keep in mind that there are people with disabilities who can trip over these lighting improvements. And so I speak out to you, council members, because you're such considerate about those with disabilities. And I state it from the Guide to Disability Rights Laws here in my hand. Department of Justice states that Title II covers all activities of state and local governments. As a reminder, please, dear Speaker, hold my time. Thank you, and have a good morning.
We cannot hold your time for another item, but that'll be part of your 2 minutes. But thank you very much. Good morning, John.
Good morning. John
How are you today?
Walsh. Fine, thank
Excellent.
you. Yourself? John Walsh, Hollywood Highlands, HIGHLANDS.org or jwalshconfidential.wordpress.com. What this is, I want people to realize, is they come into your neighborhood and they're going to put more lighting in your neighborhood because of crime. Now, in other cities, they just do it. But here, they tax not the corporations, they tax the homeowners for putting better lighting in. Come to LA, come to Hollywood, how good our lighting is, and we didn't have to pay in those days for improved lighting. You have to approve. This one happens to be in the Valley, Van Nuys and Telfair, and they are asking for a hearing. And what are you saying? You're going to deny the protest, 10 or 11 to nothing. To hell with you. To hell with the Valley. HollywoodHighlands.org. This is the way they run their operation here.
Great. Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. LaBonge.
The public's benefit, property owner improvements are paid for by assessment on these things, and this is a normal process throughout. Where Mr. Walsh has lived for many, many years, there were federal funds that paid for the lights for his and other neighborhoods' benefit, but that has washed up. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Sean. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. We need more lights, not just Van Nuys, but all over L.A. I'm for this project.
Great. Seeing no other cards, no speakers on the queue, we'll go ahead and open the roll on that item. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and take the commission appointments since they're here in council.
And, Mr. President, if I may, in regards to number 3, the public hearing has now been closed, and that matter will go over 1 week unless later reconsidered with 12 members.
Correct. Excellent. Thank you very much. All right. We'll go ahead and take the commissioners.
That brings us to item number 15.
Yes.
Called special for Councilmember Price.
Mr. Price.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, yesterday the Council Economic Development Committee had the honor and pleasure of meeting with our nominee, Nicole Duckett Frick. Let me invite her up to the table. In her meeting with the committee and the prior meeting, certainly we've been impressed with her commitment, her dedication, and her understanding of the importance of bringing people to our community, promoting our city, promoting the convention center. And we found her to be eminently qualified. I'd just like for her to say a few words about her background, Mr. President.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
her vision for serving on this important body.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, council members. My name, as stated, is Nicole Duckett Frick. I'm very excited to be here and very excited to continue serving the city in my participation on the Board of Commissioners for the Convention Center. As Councilmember Price pointed out, I do have some ideas of what we need to do going forward, and before I share those with you, I would like to just tell you a little bit about myself. I was born here in Los Angeles. I went to UCLA School of Law, and I now practice law downtown at a firm called Milberg. I run the Los Angeles office of the Milberg firm. And as an attorney and as a business person, I plan to use both the legal and business acumen that I have to serve the city. And with the convention center and the changes that have taken place, I think it's more important than ever to really focus on the ways that the convention center can help the city. And by that, what I mean is, now that we're going to have the assistance of AEG, and my board will be working directly with AEG and LA Tourism to manage the convention center, I think there's a lot more opportunity to use the convention center, not just to generate revenue for the city and give money to the general fund, but to really bring more tourism into the city, especially focusing on cultural tourism and using and marketing the cultural diversity that is Los Angeles to bring in more tourism, generate more revenue, and focus a much more positive light on our city through the work that we do with the convention center. So I'm very excited to be a part of that.
Great. Thank you very much. Mr. LaBonge.
Ms. Rise had an opportunity, constituent, someone who cares, has knowledge, not just of our own city, but a global view, because the global view is people want to come to Los Angeles. How we enhance the convention center. Certainly, if Farmers Fields comes, let's call those plays. Let's run that ball down the field. But if it doesn't, enhancing and other things, if you explain, and also your care for the world is so important. Please.
That's exactly right. Of course, we've all been excited about Farmers Field for a long time, but it is contingent on certain factors that are somewhat out of our control with respect to the NFL. And my vision is to continue moving forward with the expansion of the convention center, regardless of what happens with Farmer Field. And what Mr. LaBonge referred to as far as a global look with our Sister Cities program, and also just an attention to the cultural tourism. I think it's really important to start using the diversity of Los Angeles to get together with our comrades around the world and bring more tourism in. Use the convention center to do that. Absolutely.
Good job. Strong recommendation for an aye vote.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And yesterday we heard this item in Mr. Price's committee. We had a great discussion, and I think what we've heard is a person that truly understands the need of the convention center to move forward, rehabilitate itself, and provide the types of amenities we need to be a world-class tourist destination and a world-class city that hosts a number of conventions that I know we could host. Surrounding the convention center, we talked about the stadium, whether that happens or not, but we are looking, and Mr. Price and I are working on we submitted a motion to encourage more high-density residential development and hotel development around the convention center to work hand in hand so that when the convention comes online with more capacity, we have the hotel space to have more capacity. We've often talked about how we need a lot more beds for hotel space, but around that area, your job, I think, is not only look at the convention center, but you talked about this yesterday, working with all the council members to talk about how the convention center relates to every part of the city and what we're doing, the economic benefits, and the additional support that we're bringing for not only downtown, but the city as a whole. So this is a great addition, Mr. President. I'm glad that you're offering your free time to do this, so thank you so much.
Great. Thank you very much. And seeing no other speakers on the queue, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Unanimously. Congratulations. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Item 16, we were asked on item 16 for reconsideration on item 16. So for reconsideration, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Great. Okay, and we'll go ahead and bring up 17, 18, and 19 together for Ms. Martinez, and we'll take those next. 17, 18, and 19. Ms. Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have three of Mayor Garcetti's appointees to the Quality and Productivity Commission with us this morning. I'd like to ask them to come up to the table. We have Mr. Vincent Jones, Tom Sargent, and Joe Demento. Thank you very much for being here this morning. Colleagues, before you, we have the appointments, the appointees to the commission, and yesterday I had the opportunity to meet with them individually and talk about what they want to contribute and why they want to sit on this commission. I'd like for them to say a few words and say about why you want to serve on this commission as well.
Good morning, council members. It's great to see you in this wonderful room. A little closer. Good morning, council members. It's great to be here with you today in this beautiful room. My name is Vincent Jones. I'm a business owner, I'm a community advocate, and I'm a lover of Los Angeles. I'm excited about being a part of this commission because I believe that many people believe that government happens to them, and I believe that this is through this commission and through the better provision of services and finding ways to help city government be more innovative can help to change that. And yesterday we had some conversations about some ideas about how we can work together to make that happen, and I'm looking forward to be part of that process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, council members. My name is Todd Sargent. I am a principal for a global consulting firm, and every day I work with my clients to improve processes, improve their organizational efficiency, and place IT solutions into production that are going to enhance the quality and productivity of their organizations. So when discussed about this particular opportunity, I thought it was a perfect match for bringing my professional skills to the city that I love so much. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you and obviously the Audits Committee and the City Controller on ways to build efficiency around city services.
Good morning, President and council members. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Joe Demento, and I'm very excited to be here. I am from Orange County originally, but then I had the sense to move up to LA, and I love it here quite a bit. I'm in Councilmember LaBonge's district, and I'm very excited to bring my experience from the private sector as a management consultant to the city of Los Angeles and to improve the quality of services that we offer to our citizens. My goal is very simple: to improve the quality of constituent services and make sure all Angelenos are, as my colleague said, realizing that the city can act on their behalf and feeling empowered by city services. So it's an honor to be here, and I thank you very much for having me.
Great. Thank you very much. And seeing no other members on the queue. Oh, Mr. Bonin.
Thanks. I just wanted to rise colleagues to say a few words about Vincent Jones. I told him as I approached him over there I was thinking of voting no because I thought he was overqualified for the position. I've had the pleasure of knowing and working with Vincent probably since 2002, I think, and he is an extraordinary individual, and we're very lucky to have his talents. He has a fan club here with him today, and if I weren't sitting here, I'd probably be sitting there. I've worked with Vincent in a number of different capacities, particularly on matters of LGBT equality and other progressive issues, and Vincent is someone who always has this ability to encourage people and motivate people to do harder work than they thought they were capable of doing and have fun at the same time. He brings joy to the movement, and everything you do is quality, and you enhance people's productivity, so you're going to be excellent on this commission, and I'm just very glad you're going to be serving. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Ms. Martinez, back to you.
Well, I just want to say congratulations, and thank you very much for serving the city of Los Angeles. I look forward to working with you. Colleagues, I ask for an aye vote.
Well, there you heard it. She asked for an aye vote. So with that, we'll go ahead and open the roll and close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Asked and received. You got it. Congratulations unanimously as well. Thank you very much. Truly appreciate it. So item 16, the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners. And Ms. Martinez, do you want to take this one as well? Or Mr. Cedillo?
Our chair, Mr. Parks, is not with us this morning, but I sat on the Education and Neighborhood Committee, and Mr. Atkins was there yesterday, so I just want to give her an opportunity to say a few words, introduce herself, and talk a little bit about why she wants to serve on the commission.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Joy Atkinson, native of Los Angeles. Very, very excited about being on the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners because civic engagement has been a subject that I've always been interested in when I worked for the legislature, for former Assemblywoman Gwen Moore and former Assemblywoman Karen Bass. I was a liaison to the community, and I understand the importance of citizen involvement in public policy. And I hope and I look forward to working with neighborhood councils to see if we can even improve the participation of citizens in the neighborhood council movement, because it is the best way to have contact with our elected officials and to be involved in the public policy making of this city. I have been, I guess that's the most important. I head up an organization right now called LawPi. That's a leadership development program for women, and it is involved in leadership development in public policy, leading to civic engagement on the part of women in the city. So this is right up my alley, and I'm so looking forward to participating on the commission. Thank you.
Great. No, thank you very much. Mr. Cedillo.
Yes, I rise to support the motion. I have worked with Joy for decades, and she must have just come right out of high school. But for decades in the city, particularly I remember my time at SEIU Local 660, in which we were engaged in a series of projects and campaigns to keep people involved and engaged around public health, around public services, and it's always been a pleasure and a joy to work with you over all those years. And I'm just so excited because, like my colleague said, I think you're overqualified, much qualified, and we're very fortunate to have your leadership. As I expressed earlier, you're perfect for this because of your innate leadership skills and your ability to bring people together. So I'm very excited for that.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Price.
Yeah, I too rise in support of this nomination. We know Joy for her activism, not just with young women, but with young people in the community at large. And I agree this is an excellent fit for your background, your training, and your commitment, and look forward to working with you in this capacity.
Great. Thank you very much. And seeing no other speakers on the queue, we'll go ahead and open the roll and close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Congratulations to you as well. Thank you very much for your time, and good luck to you. So with that, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. LaBonge for a presentation.
Okay. Members, for those of us who were here earlier, we got to see the great mayor of Los Angeles, Mr. Garcetti. Mr. Cedillo, he came around. But right now, spending our whole time in this meeting is the great honorary mayor of Sherman Oaks, Jules Fehr. And I'd like to ask our great city attorney, Mike Fehr, no relation, right? No, not yet. Okay, good. To join as well. And Paul Koretz, as you know, in redistricting, our districts changed a little, and I was fortunate to get Sherman Oaks. And in that, I met Jules. Because if you go to Sherman Oaks, here comes Paul. Paul, you got it too. There's no things. Dion, you've been in Sherman Oaks. You can come too if you want. But all of us appreciate what this man does. In our communities, there are people who are beacons of brightness, just want to do good for the community. Mitchell Farrell, you got them all over the 13th. You go to one person, stuff gets done. Jules has done that. And just recently celebrated a special birthday. And we couldn't all be there, but we wanted to honor you in front of the city council. I also want to say your wonderful wife is here, Francine. Francine, come on in right now, please. Give her a big hand right there. And, the greatest twins in town. That's what it says on the billboard. It's Sepulveda and Ventura. The Fehr girls who are here, right? Debbie and Denise. And also son Stephen is here as well. They're all capturing this for the moment. But I want to turn it over to Mike Fehr and then my colleagues. But this is the truth. We don't do it alone as representatives. We have great staffs, but then we have great constituents who do the things just for the love of their neighborhood, and no one loves Sherman Oaks more than this man. But before I ask him to speak, the fine city attorney of Los Angeles, who many years ago, I was driving over through the Beverlywood neighborhood, and I looked in the center of the street, and there was a tall guy playing catch with his son. And I was going to make a presentation for then Mayor Reardon. And I said, I wish I was him. As I got to the corner and turned right, I stalled, and I looked, and there was Mike Fehr playing ball with his son. That's the vision I love about this man. Family man, city attorney, a man for all people. Mike Fehr.
I do, very well. Thank you, Tom. I had to be here this morning. When I was on the city council, I took office in 1995, and almost immediately, Jules came forward and offered himself as a volunteer on a whole array of really important community issues. And Jules spent as much time in our office as he spent with Francine at home for a while there. And Francine and I still have a nice relationship anyway. But I do want to say, Jules is more than a community volunteer to me. He's more than one of the leaders of the Sherman Oaks community and the Sherman Oaks homeowners. Jules is like a member of the family. And it's not just because our names are so close. It's not just because whenever I run for office, Jules calls me threatening to run on the same ballot just to confuse the voters. And Jules has done that on a number of occasions. But I really wanted to be here because there's a level of affection that those of us who know Jules well have for him that mirrors what it would feel like if you had somebody who was your favorite relative working side by side with you all the time, because Jules is warm and selfless, he is tenacious, and he has a depth of affection for Sherman Oaks and for the city of Los Angeles that few could ever possess. And it is my honor, on behalf of the City Attorney's Office in Los Angeles, to present this hand-calligraphed offering to just, as a small token, Jules, it's 80 years young for you, and as they say in the business, to 120. Congratulations.
And I want you to relax, but stand up after Mr. Koretz says the same good words, but with his twist. Not the same words. Paul Koretz, the great councilman of the 5th.
Well, thank you, Tom. It's a great honor to be here for someone that can only be described as a mensch, a true person who does great things. And it's hard to believe that you're 80 years old. I think the community activism you've done has kept you much younger than your years. And Jules has had a number of major positions in the community, and he's considered the honorary mayor of Sherman Oaks. But he also does the little stuff, like going around with his friend Chuck and pulling down signs and identifying things that need to be done in the neighborhood. Even things like the Soha meetings. They always have a restaurant donate the food for the 200 people that show up. And Jules is the one that asked those restaurants to do it. And month after month and year after year, somebody says yes every month. And it's just because he's such a sweet guy, they can't say no to him. He claims he threatens them, but I'm not sure he's too threatening. I think they do it out of friendship. So I have to say, in reapportionment, I lost Sherman Oaks, and I felt the worst about losing the opportunity to work with Jules, who's just been just a sweetheart of a guy and one of the best people you could ever have to work with in the community. So it's my pleasure to recognize you along with my council colleagues and our city attorney. You've been an amazing guy and a huge asset to our community.
Thank you, Paul.
And see, you have so many brothers. It could be sisters if we had more sisters on the city council, but we got a lot of brothers on the council. And a great brother is Paul Kokorian, who also lost a little Sherman Oaks in the
Thank you, Tom. And that was a great loss indeed, I must say. The 2nd Council District used to include Sherman Oaks. And a number of years ago, when I was a member of the state legislature and City Attorney Mike Fewer was my seatmate in Sacramento, we had a few conversations about the possibility of my running for the city council. And the first conversation I had with him, the first thing he said was, well, you need to speak with Jules Fear. And he was exactly right, and Tom hit it on the head, I think, when he talked about Jules as being that person in this community that you need to talk to first to get things done. We all know people like that in so many communities around Los Angeles. But one of the really outstanding differences about Jules is that oftentimes that one person that you talk to get things done gets it done with really sharp elbows and tends to induce fear. Well, Jules Fear does not induce fear. He develops consensus, and he's the kindest, sweetest, most caring man imaginable in getting those things done. He has such a record of achievement as Vice President of the Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association, of course, the legendary Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association. He is there making it the powerful entity that it is, and yet still bringing joy to the experience of the land use and planning decisions, the difficult things that we have to so often deal with. As a Park Advisory Board member, as co-chair of the Sherman Oaks Beautification Committee, over 2 decades of service to the community of Sherman Oaks. And, you know, in particular, 75 years or so ago, the Los Angeles Times, when Ventura, this doesn't involve you, Jules, but 75 years ago, but Ventura Boulevard, when Ventura Boulevard was opened as a continuous boulevard all the way from the Cahuenga Pass to Calabasas, the Los Angeles Times talked about Ventura Boulevard as being one of the grandest boulevards in all of America. And truth be told, it had hit on hard times. But it is now again becoming that grand boulevard, in large part because of the vision and the leadership of Jules Fear and others that he has brought along with him in beautifying Ventura Boulevard. So for these and for so many reasons, Jules, it's a real privilege to be able to stand with you and honor you and recognize your incredible record of service. Thank you for what you do to the city and for Sherman Oaks.
And Mr. President, I want this 16th council member, the one we want to come up with, Nazario Salcido, the head of street services. He gets it done.
Thank you very much, Tom, for giving me the opportunity. I just want to congratulate Jules. He is a true friend of the Bureau of Street Services. He is our friend. He is our ears and our eyes out there in the community. I know you care about streets, you care about trees, and you care about sidewalks along Ventura Boulevard. So to express our appreciation, I have 2 gifts for you. A hat that will protect you against the effects of the sun, right? And secondly, a pin that certifies you as an honorary employee of the Bureau of Street Services. Jules, with one of these and $5, you can get a coffee at any Starbucks, all right? So congratulations, Jules.
Thank you. Good job. We got 2 for you since your birthday. That's your pin, and when you tear down those placards on the telephone poles or street lights, that will make sure you don't get in trouble because you're an honorary member of the Street Services Division. Oh, wow. But this is for you. This great plaque with the Great Seal of Los Angeles, signed by Mr. Krikorian, Mr. Koretz, Mr. Fear. We got to get your name in there.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. And our mayor, Eric Garcetti. So with that, with the Great Seal of Los Angeles, we salute Jules Fear. Good job. Hold that right up. Say a few words. Say a few words.
Boy, I am just overwhelmed. I had no idea this was going to happen to me. Otherwise, I would have worked a little harder. Maybe I would have got a bigger one. But I want to thank you all very, very much. I mean, all you council members, all my friends from the various different agencies of the city that I've become friends with over the years. I thank you all so much. My family is here. My wife is here. We celebrated our 56th wedding anniversary in August. And my children are here. My in-laws are here. And my friends from the community are here. My God, the police is here. It just doesn't end. But so thank you all very, very much. I'm very grateful for this and most appreciated. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
One more thing. He does have friends like Zaki and others in the Department of Transportation And we wanted to make sure when he goes to those late night meetings that he gets home okay. We wanted to have the street sign. All right.
Mr. Huizar wanted to speak as well. Mr. Huizar.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, Jules, congratulations. Like Mr. Kokorian said, there's people like you make things work at the local level where it matters. Nazario said that you could get a free Starbucks cup of coffee at Starbucks with that pin. Don't put that plaque up in your wall. Carry it around in your car. If you get pulled over, show them that plaque with that big C of Los Angeles. It might help you a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good job. All right, Jules Fair, big hand. Man.
All right, congratulations. With that, we're going to go ahead and take item 25, called special by Mr. Huizar. It's already been satisfied for public comment. So item 25, Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, I just wanted to raise to your attention, to the public's attention, that this item includes reports from the Arts and Budget Committees requesting a much-needed policy update to the city's Arts Development Fee Ordinance and Program. The city initiated the Arts Development Fee in 1991, charging a small fee for arts development based on square footage of new development for projects larger than 250,000 square feet. This program has resulted in some really wonderful art throughout the city, and as you all know, we could definitely use more art throughout the city. However, the ordinance and program have not been updated since 1991 when it was established, and we need to examine the types of projects paying this fee, the amounts for payments and credits, and the limitations to effectively utilizing and dispersing these funds. And we need to make sure that we are using these funds efficiently and doing the best we can with them. And I want to thank my colleagues from the Arts and Budget Committees for their prompt action on this important issue. I look forward to seeing the progress of this motion and requesting a report back. And as such, I'd like to ask for your aye vote, but this is something that I think will help us as we review this, think about how we could get more public art and support the arts community in the city of Los Angeles. A very important source of funds that we haven't looked at for a very long time. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Seeing no other speakers on the queue, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Great, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and go on to item 9, called special by cards. And with that, if you can come up in any particular order, whoever makes it first, Sean, Felicia, and Juan. Do you want the other speakers, if they want to come up and get ready behind him, please? Sean, Felicia, and then Juan.
Just a minute. I'm looking for... Yeah, I'm sorry. Here we go. Item 9 is a project. It's an item that I support. Thank you.
Thank you. Felicia, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, and yourself, sir?
Fantastic.
How are you this morning?
Excellent. Thank you.
My
very
name
much.
is Felicia Brannon. I'm the Executive Director of Community and Local Government Relations at UCLA, and we simply would like to state our support for this measure as well, but we'd like to also thank Councilmember Koretz and his patience in his office and working with us and seeing this come to fruition. Thank you.
Excellent. No, thank you very much. Thanks for coming this morning. Appreciate it. Juan, morning.
Good morning. The whole city is a sewer, so I can...
Thank you. If you could stick to the item.
Yeah, talking about the sewer, categorical exemption communication from the city engineer and ordinance first consideration relative to the quitclaim of the easement for sanitary sewer purposes lying on 5860 Jefferson Boulevard. Yes, we should have clean sewers. Yes, that is a fact. The fact is that a lot of homeless people sleep near the sewer. It's not sanitary, but it's okay.
Mr. President, he is not talking about this vacation.
Okay, thank you very much, though. We appreciate it. So, you want to stick to the item?
Yeah, I am. I'm sticking to the item. Some of those sewers really stink. I've smelled them before when I was just sitting there on the sidewalk, hoping to have a place to live.
Particular property, though, on a.
Yeah, in that property, yeah, the sewer stinks too. Yeah.
Okay.
It really does. I've been there. I've been all over the city. The whole city stinks. It really does. Look, all the streets are cracked. There's homeless people all over the place. What are you talking about? A beautiful city. It's a city that stinks. It really is.
Okay, thank you very much. Seeing no other speakers on the queue and no other speaker cards.
For the record, they do have the wrong text on the screen. I think that's what confused this gentleman.
Yes, the text
But
was wrong on the screen.
Item 9 on the agenda is what we're all supporting.
Yes,
Thank you.
we understand that.
And for the record, the agenda on the written agenda is correct.
Is correct. And so we're voting on the written agenda, not what was put up on the screen, incidentally. So with that, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Great, thank you very much. All right, that'll take us to item 32. And one card, John Walsh, on item 32.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Again, this is about street lighting. Notice, they're not, I want to talk to all the people out there that have to deal with these taxes on street lighting. It doesn't create any new street lighting. It's a maintenance in Hollywood of the Sunset Boulevard Gordon street lighting. And it's $2,306.30. Now, I know those things don't break down anymore now with the carbon arc. This is $2,306 that goes into the city's pocket. And who's paying for it? The homeowners in the Sunset Gordon area. You're getting no more lights. You're not, and try calling them up if something breaks down. If your lights break down, it takes weeks. This is garbage. HollywoodHighlands.org. 15-0 in favor. Aye.
Great, thank you very much. And won't be 15 since we don't have 15 present. But with that, we'll go ahead and open the roll. Oh, okay. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
11, Mr. Walsh. So
And
thank you.
Mr. President, that item will go over 1 week unless reconsidered later with 12 members.
Okay, so next week we'll have 15, Mr. Walsh. Okay, so with that, if we can go on to the next item. Oh, before that, got a shout out from Mr. Price.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I just want to acknowledge the history and California government project class from LA Trade Tech College. They're with us today. Stand up, class, led by Professor Thurman
All right,
Robinson.
colleagues, put your hands together. Yes.
We appreciate your presence, and you've gotten to see your government at work, sort of. Thank you.
Great, fantastic. Thank you for joining us here today as well. Okay, so with that, we'll go ahead and take item 38, called special for cards. Mr. Herman, followed by Mr. Walsh, followed by Juan. If you can come up and just get ready right behind him, feel free. Mr. Herman, Juan, and John, come on up. Thank you, John. And Mr. Herman and Juan, if you want to line up behind him as well.
Minute 3, John Walsh, HollywoodHighlands.org. Let me explain this. This is the Department of Parks and Rec. The controller did an audit, I believe subject to a complaint about this company, J.H. Kishi. Now, you don't see any mention of the results of this controller's audit. I think it would raise some eyebrows, and I'm on this. I've just ordered the controller's audit, and I'm going to tell you exactly the truth, the raw, naked truth of what's happening with J.H. Kishi. In fact, the controller does a very poor job, the one that we got rid of, the one that ran for mayor. The new controller is make sure that anyone west of La Brea doesn't get audited, only east of La Brea, because those are his people west of La Brea, okay? HollywoodHighlands.org. This is a Parks and Recreation report from the controller, HollywoodHighlands.org.
John, thank you. All right, the other speakers no longer wish to speak, or they're not there? You pass? Okay. Mr. Herman.
Yes. In light of what Mr. Walsh, HollywoodHighland.org, mentioned, we're talking about people with disability and equal opportunities to benefit from all of their programs, services, and activities within employment, transportation, recreation in particular, because this here is speaking about communication from the controller and Department of Recs and Parks. So I highlight that at Hazard Park, in the last 50 years, there hasn't been any improvements for sidewalks and safer sidewalks or streets. So that's one consideration that this city must abide by for the safety of all its constituents. And further note, so I can allow you guys to have great lunch, I endorse 2014 Governor Mr. Neil Kashari. I do proclaim this for Mr.
He is not. This is not. It's not on the item. So, but thank you very much for sharing. Okay. No, thank you.
When it comes to the idea of those who can benefit from the action of the controller with Department of Recs and Parks, we need to audit them specifically so that the fundings are not abused or wasted. Public trust depends on these appropriations to be funded for our parks. So I say to you, Mr. Controller, take action. Hold an audit and accountability at Hazard Park, 2230 Norfolk Street, 90033. Chairman, hold my time. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Seeing no other speakers on the queue, we'll go ahead and open the roll on that item, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Great. Thank you very much. And now that we've got 12 members, we can reconsider all the ordinances. And so we'll go ahead and do that. Those items, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir. Those are items 2 through 7, 20, and 27 through 37. Again, 2 through 7, 20, and 27 through 37.
Okay. Do we have to vote on reconsideration first, or go ahead and vote on the items? We'll go ahead.
Yes, sir. We should first vote on reconsideration.
We'll do that first. Open the roll and close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, all those items are up once again for reconsideration for passing the ordinance. And open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, that takes us, I believe, to item 40. And we have items on, we have cards on 40. Mr. Walsh, do you wish to speak? Followed by Mr. Sachs. Juan? Mr. Herman, of course. Good morning, John. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. Great.
Excellent.
Thanks. Just for the record, the past vote, there were only 5 members in their seat, but you got 12 votes.
You want to stick to the item, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Again, you're voting outside your seats.
Appreciate
Okay,
that.
number 40. This is very interesting. Mr. Blumenfield and Mr. Bonin are shaking things up. This concerns the legislative analyst and the CAO having to do a report on what's known as frozen and unfrozen, I'm not making this up, managed hiring process. The hiring process here in LA is if you have a friend, you get the job. And I'm telling you, it's 100 times better than New York. That's how bad it is in New York and in Chicago. Okay, so what they're asking for is a list of revenue-generating positions that could be exempted. Okay. Anytime I hear the word exempted, what does that mean? That means you don't have to go through civil service and the politicians appoint. This report, if it was done honestly, would be withering. Not a word of discussion about this report. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you very much. Arnold, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
We hadn't
Thank
heard from you yet today, so.
Sorry?
We haven't heard from you yet today.
Well, the items I held were already held in commission, and you didn't reopen public comment, which is too bad, but that's a different story. Anyway, what's written here, and who writes this stuff? A comprehensive report on the managed hiring process. And the process in and of itself, when you do the budget deliberations, comes into play. Because I'm looking at when the budget deficit, and by the way, it's like over $200 million, and we'll discuss that a little bit in public comment, but we've had this discussion a few times. The idea that the city has funded unfilled positions, which basically is what this is talking about, frozen but hired positions, same language, different phraseology. And look at what happened with the budget that cost the city over $150 million in pay raises to the coalition. We needed to have a comprehensive report when you decided to do the early retirement program, because for a little over 300 positions that were eliminated through layoffs, the city has to pay out $150 million every year to cover the pay raises that were promised to the coalition based on the fact that if anybody was laid off, then those pay raises would go into effect. But if nobody had been laid off, then there wouldn't have been the pay raises. And I'm not suggesting that nobody is not shouldn't have a pay raise. But in the time of the crisis that the city was going through, it was uncalled for and unwarranted, and yet no comprehensive report was done by the city or the budgeting process or the budgeting and the city council. So it's all a matter of language.
All right, thank you very much. Cool. Sherman.
Residents of Los Angeles, all you constituents, again, we're talking about a process of hiring and how management sometimes uses its fundamental misuse of its hiring process and sometimes firing process. But I'm not going to talk about Francine Godoy today because I have a song later on to sing about that. We're talking about here, as one of your constituents had mentioned, where's the accountability in a sense where this city must hold on to its action when it comes to hiring, firing, and giving promotions at a level, again, not even mention what's ethical around here. What is ethical to you, Los Angeles? All of you in TV today, here, there, all of you, what's ethical when it comes to the hiring and firing, the process here at City Hall? You, we, the taxpayers, all of you, constituents, we're paying for it in the back end. We must keep accountability, keep things open, not behind closed doors. Again, when it comes to the managed hiring, management has been abusive with these sexual harassments and its ideas and unrealistic views, right? So keep in mind that you, Los Angeles, all of you, children watching today, me, SpongeBob, look at me, SpongeBob. This is a fact. I'm trying to save you in the future a life. Mine is over. It's over. So keep in mind, Los Angeles, when it comes to the appropriateness and what the accountability of this council is stop sexual harassment on your hiring process with management. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Juan.
I wish to inform Mr. SpongeBob that he's just a cartoon character and he'll never die. Anyway, the topic is, one of them is, the city attorney under the Brown Act has no right to interrupt the speakers. Only the guy up on the podium over there. The guy over there, not you. So don't interrupt me ever again, or you're going to go...
Mr. President, he is not on
Can
topic.
you stay on the topic, please?
True or not?
For the city attorney.
Okay.
Thank you.
Why do we hire people like him? That is the thing. You know, we hire people that meddle in other people's affairs without having the right to do so. So the hiring process for the city should be a heck of a lot more transparent. And what are we doing anyway? Who prints the money? The Illuminati? The money goes to every entity, and that's how we run our society. So if we run our society on the basis of money, why hire people that are incompetent? Only the city clerk can interrupt, not the city attorney. You need to know what your job is.
Mr. President, he is not on topic. That
Okay,
is advice
so
I am
if you
giving
could-
to the council president.
Okay, so that was, I believe, was that the third warning on this particular item? Okay, it was the third warning on this particular item. All right, thank you very much. Having no other cards and no speakers on this item, please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Great, thank you very much. And if we could take the next item, I believe, is item 41A. 41A, called special as well by cards. Juan, I believe you have one more minute. 1 minute left?
Yep.
Okay.
1 minute is enough to let you know that you don't really have any business in real estate. The people have the right to have a place to live. So don't tell me I'm speaking out of order when we're talking about real estate that is controlled by the city. The cities around the world do not have the right to control the real estate where people live and work and pay taxes. They are the ones that pay for everything. They are the ones that should own and make the rules over real estate, not the cities, not the counties, not the federal government.
Mr. President, this is a track map matter.
Okay, so we've got one member suggesting that it's disruptive.
Disruptive, to tell you the truth?
As well, so thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Arnold.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. And this is a track map item, but it also refers to a Quimby fee that's generated of $78,572. So I would like to discuss a little bit about the Quimby fee that's generated by this track map item. And as a little background, I would offer that on November 5th, 2013, in the County Board of Supervisors, item 26 referred to a project. And in the project reference, it mentions the Department of Parks and Recreation's operating budget and $8,000 in park in lieu fees accumulated capital outlay fund, parentheses, Quimby. So, park in lieu of accumulated capital outlay funds, Quimby fees, in lieu of paying something else, Quimby fees. Where have we heard that before? Well, the DWP, it makes a transfer in lieu of property taxes. And the housing agency makes a transfer in lieu of property taxes.
Arnold, if you could bring it back to
the Quimby
particular
fees that are generated,
track map.
the Quimby fees that are generated in lieu of capital outlay funds never get spent because it's not for the process that it's originally written into the ordinance of. It's totally different. And that in itself is the problem with the Quimby fees. They're accumulated, just like the Quimby fees for the Grand Avenue Park were accumulated, but there were no fees available for the park around the new police headquarters, because it's not a park. It doesn't make the parameters.
Mr. President, this is a discussion of a track map.
Okay, well, that's okay. We've gone through the time. You've said track map 14 times.
The Quimby fees. Please,
I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing. Mr. Walsh, to close this item, John.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Come right to it. This actually 41 concerns final maps. Doesn't concern any individual track map. I want the public to understand that they have a track map of where you live. You can download it and find out. Remember, they are borrowing money against your property. We have billions of dollars of borrowed money. That's why they continue to raise your assessments. Everything about, does anybody, you folks up there, do you know how you're zoned? Do you know what they can
John,
do to you?
Just bring it to this item.
I am talking about the final maps. That's what I'm talking about. I'm saying to you the final maps show that, and incidentally, your city attorney didn't say I was out of order, did he? You said it. I'm telling you the final track maps show how you were zoned. Find your final track map. Track map, track map, track map. Am I off the topic? Hollywood Highlands.
Very well. Thank you very much. And on that, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Great. Thank you very much. I believe that takes us to the 2 closed session items. Oh, we've got Mr. Krikorian. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Both of these items have been heard by the Budget and Finance Committee, which recommends approval of the City Attorney's recommendations on each. They can be resolved in open session unless members have questions or
Okay.
or
Any members
concerns.
have any questions? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and open the roll on those items.
Mr. President, if I may, in the case entitled Tina Burchard versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to adopt the City Attorney's recommendations. And in the case entitled Los Angeles in RE Municipal Derivative Antitrust Litigation, there is a recommendation to accept the proposed settlement offer from Wachovia Wells Fargo in the amount of $161,642.
Okay, seeing no other questions, speakers on the queue, we'll open the roll on both of those items and close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Great, thank you very much. I believe that takes us, that should conclude the agenda.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that takes us where?
Mr. President, that takes us to general public comment for items not on Council's agenda.
Okay, general public comment. Let's see here, let me guess. Sean?
Yeah, we should not ban plastic bags. We should ban leaf blowers. We should ban leaf blowers because they're too loud and they're too dusty. That's all I have to say about it.
All right, thank you very much. John? Followed by Arnold. Morning, Mr. Walsh.
Hello, thank you. On the ordinance vote, there were only 5 people in their seat and 12 people voted on it. I remember when Sennheiser was with LA Weekly, he did the story. Now that punk is over there. He's not going to do the story. HollywoodHighlands.org. $1,000 reward I've posted. I've taken it out of my bank account for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the murderer of Mr. Gatto's father. You put nothing up because you're not going to treat him as cruelly and inhumanly as you treat the blacks and Hispanics come up here with your phony rewards. Now, let me tell you, Hollywood Library, I want you to go out there, Mr. LaBonge. It's ankle deep in shit, S-H-I-T. The plumbing is out of control. They had to close the library yesterday afternoon. Where were you? Come and smell the roses and smell the shit. Now, the reason for this is not the homeless. It's that we don't have enough services for the homeless in Hollywood, so they've taken over the library. And they shit everywhere. And they stuff up the toilets. Let's put them where they belong. Let's give them some mental health. Come on out and smell the roses and the shit in Hollywood. As far as bleeding to death at LAX, as you know, at the LAX 11-1 chaos, we are asking for a U.S. House of Representative investigation why Mr. Gerardo Hernandez and El Salvadoreño was left there to die while you took the white man who shot him and sent him in the ambulance and made the man who shot him, who got shot, sit and die and bleed to death. And that's what happened. And all the smirking in the world by the mayor won't end that. I have a Brown Act complaint against the city attorney. Hey, Mike Feuer, go do your damn job. Hollywood Highlands.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Richard Robinson, please. Yes, Mr. LaBonge.
For reference, the Los Angeles Police Department and their detectives notify us when it's appropriate for a reward. My office is working with the Los Angeles Police Department and waiting for their advice. And Mr. Walsh, if you could come over to the ropes and tell me what part of the library, I will gladly get it fixed. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard, good morning.
Morning. Mr. President, members, this is the King James translation of the Bible, the Holy Bible. On the campus of the University of Michigan, I was associated with Maranatha before Kent State. Students for a Democrat Society that organization was formed on the campus, University of Michigan, after the Sexual Freedom League and at Berkeley matriculated from Berkeley to the University of Michigan. We formed a very vital, Jesus Freaks got started about that time. Back in the 60s, we helped to, with God's help, organize demonstrations that brought
Mr. President, he is not talking about
an end to apartheid.
anything that has to do with the city of
If I may,
Los
during
Angeles.
general public comment here, simply quote from the Holy Bible. Let me say this. 2 Timothy 3:16. All Scripture is given by inspiration of God. This book is 3,000 years old. Some people don't want to hear it, but it is the oldest book in the world. It's a Yiddish book. I'm part Jewish. You know that. But 2 Timothy 3:16 says, the Bible is the revealed word of God. If you will read
Mr.
it,
President, this is not within the
you
jurisdiction of the
will
city.
not only find joy and happiness, you'll find knowledge, learning, truth. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. While it might not be in the jurisdiction of the city, we are the City of Angels, so thank you very much. Amen to that. All right. With that, Arnold Sachs. Arnold. There he is.
Yes, thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs. And tomorrow is a very sad day in the legacy of the airport, as the Proud Bird is closing due to a rent disagreement with LAX. And really what's fascinating about part of that rent disagreement is some of the information that comes out in the story. The story is the FAA requires LAWA to collect a legitimate rent for the property. Can't argue with that. But a few years ago, there was this discussion regarding the holding lot for the taxi cabs and the fact that authorized taxi cab supervision was renting out a space for a lunch truck for the cab drivers and collecting $27,000 a month in rent. Airport property, FAA requirements. So how is authorized taxi cab supervision renting out property, that's airport property, and collecting the funds, yet the Proud Bird is being hit up for a 100% rent increase because of FAA requirements? Well, maybe somebody from Trade, Commerce, and Tourism will look into that. It's been going on for years. But, you know, that's just part of the story. And then in today's newspaper, there's a little story about the Harbor Department and a cost overrun, $260 million for a project. Where do they get the extra money from? Maybe they should apply the same standards that you're using for the streetcar. That's only $220 million cost overrun. But that's the estimate. Again, where did the Harbor Department get the extra $260 million? Unfortunately, the director resigned. We'll never know that answer.
Mr. Herman, come on up.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Los Angeles, California, singing his new hit, "The City of LA is shining on me again." However, Councilman Weezer is not here. In search of his next, hopefully not, sexual harassment. You need to help to get through. The winter's coming to meet with you. Oh, dirty, dirty women of Console, they say don't mess around. You don't mess around, you don't mess around. Don't mess around, Mr. Weezer, because sexual harassment is illegal in Los Angeles. But the song I wanted to sing today has to do with Ozzy. And he sang a song called "Oh, Dirty Women." They say they don't mess around. Oh, dirty women. You gotta get me going down, 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 and all around. Dirty women, woo! In City Hall, no place to mess around.
Okay, so again, it's got to be things under our
Pardon?
jurisdiction and purview.
Pardon?
So, okay, so
I can't sing my song and read my words?
well,
It's part
just
of my-
because
it's part of my
you
team.
can sing doesn't mean you can sing.
But you're running my time. You
Yeah.
haven't stopped. Are you talking to me or running my time?
Saying.
Well, then I'll finish my song.
Okay, but it's got to be relevant. It's not relevant to what's under the purview of this jurisdiction, as per the city attorney.
Aw.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway.
So I endorse
Thank you.
Neil Kashari. I support you. Why? Because he does not support the status quo. He's about homelessness in Los Angeles. If you want to see the biggest population in the second largest city, come to Los Angeles. We have the biggest overgrowth of homelessness.
Well done. Thank you. All right. And our Juan, come on up.
This is called general public comment. I thought the general public was supposed to be able to speak on any subject pertaining to what is affecting their lives.
It's actually, if you're asking the question, it's any
This-
subject that's under the purview of this body. It's
Okay,
very
the
specific.
city attorney has been violating Mr. O'Connell. You look like the Monopoly guy and you act like him. Anyway.
And the public comment cards aren't directed to anybody specifically.
Well, I'm
General
directing
public
it at how the city council. Okay, Mr. Welch earlier told us that the library smells like shit, and Buscaino told him to clean up his language. Why don't we clean up city council so they actually do what the people want them to do? Because city council is beginning to stink a little bit like shit. So, one thing that people need that you probably don't even realize is a place to live, which is super essential. So why do we make it so difficult for people to get at least a tiny little residence without all your government entanglement? Not only that, you're not even listening to what I'm saying. You're talking to each other like as if the people didn't matter. Sir, the one up on the podium, up there, way up there, who the heck are you talking to and what are you talking about? You're way off the subject. You don't even know who I'm talking about. Look at him. Totally distracted with a cute little... Yeah, I know. He's talking to a cute little lady there and disregarding the speaker.
Okay, so that's your time, and I did hear everything you said. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Have a nice day. Seriously, have a nice day. Thank you for sharing. Mr. Cooper, to close.
First of all, I'm coming back up here. I would like to find my mother's body. Your law enforcement officers, Latinos, El Salvadorans know where she is. She's got a $10,000 diamond ring. Those rings, that doesn't mean anything. I always had money. What we have here? They have in my business over there on Santee Street, they got the computers, floors full of computers, machines, every sewing machines, designs, everything of mine. You know, your police officers have control over that and the property owners. $5,000 to a guardianship, Latinos, they ran off with. Another $2 million plus was Rampart took over in the Rampart area. That was an insurance policy on everything they stole from us in Riverside County. That was the sheriffs in that was the sheriffs in Nigerians, etc., with the HUD housing scam. There was what is that? Explain the negative. Obey the law. Look, all I have is the law. I'll be down here till I guess I'm old and gray and fall down in my grave, but I'm not afraid of nobody shooting me in the back of the head or any police threats. I would like to get into my bank account. Last time I was there, they had 4 Asians in suits show up, pay $2,000 and cut the phones off in the bank. Now, this is ridiculous. This is America. You understand? I went to eat at a restaurant, and they threw urine where the food comes out at because I'm eating there. These are not Americans. American, even Asians don't do that kind of stuff. These are imported criminals that are sanctioned by some of you Los Angeles police officers. Now, every time I come from down here, I'm victimized when I go back to my residence, Longwood Manors, 4853 West Washington Boulevard. I'd appreciate if you come up with my wife.
Great. Thank you very much. Having no other speaker cards, I believe that concludes the agenda. All right. Now we're looking for any council members for any announcements. Do we have any announcements from any council members? Mr. Bonnet.
And, Mr. President, council has motions for posting and referral.
Oh, we'll go ahead and post and refer those.
Thank you, sir. The desk is clear.
Thank you. Mr. Bonnet.
Colleagues, I just wanted to acknowledge that today is the Transgender Day of Remembrance, which was started by transgender advocate Gwendolyn Smith as a vigil to honor the memory of Rita Hester, a transgender woman who was killed in 1998. And it's been an opportunity every year for folks to commemorate and honor all those who have been lost as a result of transgender violence. There's actually going to be a vigil and a celebration commemoration here in Los Angeles tonight at 7 p.m. at the West Hollywood Library on San Vicente. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And do we have any adjourning motions from any members? Yes. If we could ask everybody to please rise. Everybody in chambers, please rise. Get everybody in chambers to please rise. Thank you very much. Mr. O'Farrell.
Colleagues, I rise on behalf of our colleague, Bernard Parks, who's unable to be here today, on behalf of Jason Daniel Wyndham. Mr. Wyndham is someone who was taken from us in the prime of his life. I would like to request for the council to adjourn in memory of Jason Daniel Wyndham, who was born on June 16, 1982 in Los Angeles and died November 7, 2013 at the young age of 31. Jason graduated from Dorsey High School in 1999 at the top of his class. He briefly attended Santa Monica College before transferring to the University of California at Santa Barbara. While there, he became a member of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Jason received his Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from the University of Phoenix. He worked in the City of Los Angeles Elections Division June of this year. His entrepreneurial spirit led him to become the founder and CEO of J20 Entertainment in 2012. Jason enjoyed traveling and watching basketball and football games with family and friends. The funeral service for Jason is scheduled for Friday, November 22nd, 11 a.m. at First AME Church of Los Angeles, located at 2270 South Harvard Boulevard, 90018. Jason is survived by a host of family and friends and will be sorely missed.
Great, thank you very much. Did anybody, other members? Seeing no other adjourning items, we are adjourned. Thank you.